Certainly disappointed for our locker room with the loss, knowing that we did so much that we wanted to accomplish defensively and got the game, the style of play that we were hoping for. But unfortunately, the big stat line difference tonight in a lot of areas was their ability to get to the foul line and play through contact, and we struggled to get to the foul line and any kind of offensive rhythm there in the second half, and that's a credit to their defense. But really pleased with holding that high-powered offense down and got the style of play we wanted. So we're encouraged, but I'm disappointed that it didn't equate to a win.
Curt, first question will come from the second row center.
Hey, Curt, Kareem Copeland, Washington Post. You touched on it briefly. You guys worked so hard in that second quarter to kind of bounce back, and then things flipped on in the third. What kind of changed coming out of halftime?
Halfway through the third, I felt, still really that we were in a good position. And then the second half of that third quarter, they started to make some difficult shots, and we could not find any kind of offensive rhythm and missed some shots we're certainly capable of, forced some shots, and got stagnated by their defense.
Coach Roz Goldenwood at ESPN. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
There were tough shots, again from Chelsea Gray. She's been doing it through the playoffs. What are the decisions you're making as a defense on your defense was there, those were tough shots, she's just knocked it down, on how to defend that and handle that when she's doing it?
Yeah, I was really pleased. Nothing came easy for Chelsea. Nearly every single shot, was contested or made difficult. So you got to be pleased with that. We forced her into 6 turnovers. She had a 1-to-2 assist to turnover ratio tonight. We did some good things. She just is a tough shot maker. But as long as they're contested, we're going to be pleased that, over a course of 40 minutes, if you just continue to try to make them as difficult as possible. We gave her different looks. A lot of different people guarded her, so we tried to keep her off balance.
Right. Kurt's first row to your left.
Curt, Willie Ramirez with the Associated Press. You're up by 6 when De'Erica Hamby comes in. She comes in for 10 minutes, blue-collar minutes, and she goes out with Vegas up 4. We could talk about Asia, we could talk about Chelsea, but those 10 minutes that De'Erica was in, the impact she had for them from your viewpoint.
Energy. I thought her 2 offensive rebounds were important to them in that stretch. She got them extra possessions, which led to baskets. I might be mistaken, but she might have the best plus-minus on the team tonight for them. So those minutes were big, and it was the intangibles. It was the hustle and the rebounds. She runs the floor in transition. We've got mismatches. Nothing shows up in a stat sheet for her that way, but her effort creates mismatches right away in transition to their advantage.
Curt, next question, third row to your left.
Curt, Jose Volonte, Straight Bet Sports. Brianna Jones was the only spark off of the bench today. Can you talk about how important it is to get the bench more involved for the rest of these finals?
Yeah, we more than doubled their bench production, but that has to tilt in our favor. Was really pleased with Breezy's first half. Odyssey can bring us a spark. And, she did some good things defensively, and she'll run the team. Dejanay, young and can be really impactful. And at times, with all that length around the rim, she couldn't find pass to the goal tonight. They did a good job crowding her, but we'll need those 3 moving forward.
Curt, next question, third row to your right.
Hey, Curt, Mark Schindler, WNBA.com. It felt like you guys were really toying with lineups and matchups today, especially going bigger towards the end there. I was wondering how you felt in terms of game planning that and seeing how that reacted throughout the game.
Yeah, I think that's the luxury that we have, that we can play some enormous lineups because of the versatility of Alyssa Thomas to guard different people. Then there's the chess match. They played more zone as we went bigger. And you take some perimeter scoring off the floor when we have those big lineups. So there's a fun chess match going on within the game when those kind of things happen.
Curt, next question, third row center.
Yeah, Coach M.A. Vopel, ESPN.com. Did you feel like DeWanna was just having trouble getting into a rhythm today? Or was it something defensively they were doing that seemed like it impacted her from her scoring standpoint?
Yeah, I thought they were physical on her, but DeWanna's going to step back. She's a true pro and a champion. I think we got her some 3-point looks that were good. We've got to continue to find ways where she can get into the mid-range and get to the basket, so she sees the ball go through the net. But they were physical with her tonight, but she's the ultimate pro and a champion pedigree for us, so we know she's going to bounce back. And let me take a moment and say congratulations.
Curt, second row center.
Eden Lassie, Just Women's Sports. You guys were able to hold Kelsey Plum to just 6 points in terms of their big three scores. Are you encouraged at all by that? And what did you see out of your defense in that regard?
Yeah, I thought, we tried to stay in place as best as possible on an elite scorer like Kelsey. She made a big three. She made a big, very difficult three in a big moment. So while she didn't have huge numbers, she made a big one. But again, overall, we just held that team in the 60s. We did so many good things defensively, and even some of the shots they made were extremely difficult. We've got to keep them off the foul line and do a better job that way.
Next question, Curt, third row to your right.
Hi, Coach. Nikias Duncan, Basketball News. You referenced the offensive rhythm. It looked like the Aces were pretty intentional about keeping ball screens on the sideline, particularly when you emptied the corner. How was that something that you were expecting in terms of that coverage, and kind of how did you feel about your offensive process against that coverage?
Yeah, I thought we saw more ice coverage tonight. That's the terminology that they were using in our league. They were icing us to the sideline. I thought at moments we did good things. We talked about it at halftime. We'll adjust and make some adjustments through film with these guys tomorrow. But, they recognized what they were doing early. We have multiple plans against that. And again, it at times worked to open shots. We didn't always knock them down tonight.
Curt, one more question to your right, standing.
Curt, Andy Amashta, Las Vegas Review-Journal. It seemed like you guys were really able to impose your game on the Aces in the second quarter especially. What did you guys kind of do to throw them out of their offensive rhythm and really take control in that quarter?
I think our composure when they came out of the gates and didn't miss a shot for a while, was a credit to that veteran crew. And as the game settled in, we found rhythms to get consecutive stops. The second quarter was huge for us, but we left some points out there. There was moments where I thought we had some really good offensive possessions and then missed some shots we're capable of making to really try to create some separation and going into halftime, and it didn't happen. But credit to our composure, with that shotgun start. I always talk about the cannon effect, and they came shot out of a cannon and were dynamic early, and our defense settled in. We got to our pillars, we got to the game plan, and started to, get the type of game that we feel we need in order to be successful.
Apologies, Curt. We're going to go one more question. We're going to turn to Zoom. Jacqueline, go ahead.
Hi, Curt. Just kind of going off of that, execution-wise, what do you think the difference was between that second quarter and then the fourth quarter?
I'm going to go back and look at the tape, Jackie, and see if we were getting the quality shots that we got in the second quarter. Obviously, there was more zone played. Some of that was a counter to our big lineup. We've got to be efficient at times. We know we're going to see zone in stretches in this series. They're going to play more zone than they did all of the playoffs. I think they played 3 or 4 possessions against Seattle in totality. So we know we're going to see it. That was part of the fourth quarter. And again, we got a good 3 in the corner by Natisha, but not every possession was productive against their zone.